Welcome, everybody, to Service Drive Revolution. I'm Chris Collins, and this is Christian Lafferty. How you doing, Christian?
Great. Thank you very much. Happy day.
We today are going to do really just one thing. We're going to answer your questions. They're good questions.
They usually are.
And I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, off the top here, that if you have a question, just write down this number. It's the hotline to the questions. 833-3.
Ask SDR.
Ask SDR. 833-3. Ask SDR. And it doesn't have to be related to
There's
transportation,
no limit to the categories.
marriage advice,
Yep.
cryptocurrency.
Oh, ouch.
How many friends? I don't know how many friends I have that are losing their minds about their crypto.
I just let it
One
sit.
one friend that was up so much and now he's down.
Yeah.
So funny. That's the thing. When I used to gamble in Vegas, gotta walk away. The key to winning in Vegas is walking away when you're up,
Yeah.
because you will give it all back. You gotta time it.
Yeah, I'm still pretty hopeful that it might come back.
Before we get to the questions,
Yeah.
I got an interesting letter in the mail.
You did.
Very interesting. So clearly they don't listen to the show. That was your first comment, right? They don't listen to the show. So I got a letter from NADA, and for those of you who don't know what NADA is, it's the National Auto Dealers Association, and they have this annual convention. I've talked about it on the show. I've talked about what a nightmare it is. They told me not to talk about Tesla.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff. The last time I did workshops there, I led in attendance 3 of the 4 days that I did it. They are the worst. The rooms weren't set up. They don't say thank you. They treat you like you're, I don't know. What do they treat you like? Not even a thank you.
Yeah.
And I spent close to $100,000 on a booth, getting all the people there. When you do their convention, you got to go through the unions, which is a part of it, but it's a lot of work. And basically the last couple times I attended NADA, the best way to describe it was not that you got a lot of business out of it. It was vendor on vendor crime.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just other vendors pitching other vendors. Really, the bulk of it is that. There isn't a lot of decision makers in automotive there. There's some, but we could get to those decision makers on a Facebook ad.
That is not
for
an
20
avenue
cents.
that works for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, speaking, whatever. So, this is the first time I've ever been asked to speak at NADA, because the other times I had to submit an application and then it goes in front of a jury or whatever. Then they choose who they want, etc. So I'm going to decline the invitation. No way. But I would like to discuss, because in here, basically what this letter says is, hey, on behalf of, NADA, it's a great pleasure. I'm extending a formal invitation for you to speak at our show in Vegas, March 2022. Just tell us, basically this whole thing just says, just tell us what you want to talk about. Give us 3 options. We'll pick one and you can speak. So let's go through what I would speak about if I was going to speak, but I'm not
Right.
going to speak.
The 3 topics you'll never hear at NADA.
Yeah. Maybe somebody will listen to this and they'll copy it, but
It won't be
it's
as
fine.
good. It's okay.
Steal the idea. Go for it. So the first one I was thinking of is home field advantage. Dealerships have home field advantage, but they lose 80% of their customers to aftermarket, independent, and they have a monopoly.
It's funny.
On cars,
Yep.
on the sale of new cars. They have a monopoly on it, but it's like if Amazon had all these customers coming to their website, but then they bought the second time from somebody else.
Right. They went to eBay.
Yeah, like it's just crazy. So we talk about it a lot. Home field advantage would be a big one. Another one that we have that is been very successful lately is leadership. I could do a thing on leadership that would blow their minds. And I don't know, what would the third one be?
Oh, you don't remember what we
No.
discussed? Tech recruiting.
Oh yeah, how to recruit techs. That'd be relevant.
Yep.
Because you can't hire techs.
Not in my market.
I had this sweet kid, and to defend him yesterday on a strategy session, he's running a good department and he's doing a good job. So I'm not in any way diminishing his expertise as a leader or a manager, but it always does. How do you say this? It always makes me super curious about psychology and why. I just want to understand why people do the things that they do. I'm not at all trying to say that that there's anything wrong with them, or I'm not trying to punch down in any way. What I'm trying to understand is, why do we think the way we think? So in the conversation, looking at the numbers, I said, you need probably 2, but 3 techs. I think he said he was losing one. So, I said, okay, so we need to hire 3 techs. And then he says, you can't hire techs. I don't remember, whatever. Then he goes on for a while about how you can't hire techs. And then I said, no, you can hire techs. And we've yet to experience a scenario where we can't hire techs. It's not always easy, but we figure it out, but we can, and that's something we can do. And then he goes on again for a while, saying that where he is in that area of the country, he can't hire techs. And the whole time I'm thinking, you have a huge advantage where you are in your area of the country, a huge advantage, but he sees it as a disadvantage. And then once again reiterates to me for quite a while how he can't hire techs. And then I eventually stopped him and I go, we're in hundreds of stores, and I told you that we've never been in a scenario where we can't hire techs. I'm just curious, why aren't you asking me how to hire techs? Oh, the other thing, too, I said, what have you done to hire techs? Because I was just trying to break the monotony.
Yes. I guess.
Yeah, you can guess.
You ran an ad.
But the ad wasn't up.
No. He ran an ad for a little while, but then pulled it down.
At one point, there was an ad. The ad was never changed or adjusted, but an ad was put up. But the only thing that we did is we ran an ad, and we can't hire techs. And so what is that psychologically that somebody is so convinced? It's almost like somebody who I would imagine is in Scientology or whatever, and they're convincing you that L. Ron Hubbard or whatever is the answer and that's the path. They're so convinced that narrative is true, when that narrative is your destruction. Because if you can't hire techs, you might as well close up shop, because we can't increase our sales. Our quality's gonna be hurt. It's gonna hurt our retention. Everything depends on us having good techs. What is it that makes us hold on to this thing that is our demise?
Well, I think that really what it would be is it's really, really easy for a manager to say that, and I've heard this before, we can't hire techs. Nobody can hire techs. And if nobody can do it, then it's not my fault. I'm not bad at it. You know what I mean? So they get to kind of dismiss it a little bit. But here's my favorite thing is that when I'll talk to somebody and let's say they had 25 techs and now they're down to 18. And they'll be like, nobody can hire techs. I ran an ad and nobody can hire techs. And I'll be like, where did the 8 techs go that you used to have? Oh, they went to go work at other stores. And all I'm thinking in my head is well, somebody can hire techs. There are people that are figuring out the formula. And I think that that's the big thing is that in order for us to first get better at hiring techs, maybe we have to admit that what we're doing isn't the right thing and be willing to change. But I think that's where it all starts. It's up here and it's saying, you know what? we suck at hiring techs, but we'll get better at it and figure it out.
And he is not unique. A lot of people listening to this, you do the same thing. And you got to stop saying that you can't do something and start saying, I'm going to figure it out.
Yep.
Like your conscious mind is in conflict with your subconscious. When you're telling yourself you can't do something, your subconscious is going to make that reality. You're confusing yourself. And your subconscious is way stronger than your conscious mind. So when you're saying you can't do something, you are literally just putting the brick on the gas, heading off the cliff. Like, you have to say things like, I'm going to figure it out. I haven't yet. It's coming. Like, that's always what I always do to myself when I'm in a situation where it's not going the way I want. I just say, it's coming. You got to figure it out. You got to work harder. You got to be smarter. It's coming. It's coming. So I'm training my subconscious like it's coming. And then I'll write it 50 times too. Like, it works because your subconscious is like, oh, we're serious about this. Okay. Then things start to line up. But to say that we can't, or, anything that is like finite, like it's like definitive.
Yeah, it's over.
It's a statement.
Yep.
Is really dangerous when the thing we need to be good at is that thing. It's like you're running an In-N-Out burger and you say, we can't make hamburgers. Yeah. It's like, well, the name of the place is Burger.
Right?
Right? Like, we don't exist without tech. So we got to get better at all of it. And it needs to be a passion. It needs to be something that we're excited about instead of dismissing it as just, an absolute.
Yeah, who needs to hear this?
Who?
The people at NADA.
Oh, man. Do you know the thing about one of our clients invited me to speak at a 20 group?
So I've heard bits and pieces of the end of it, and I like where you ended with it, but I do want to make the connection because I think everyone's going to agree with this. NADA asking you to speak at their place after you saying, I'll never speak at NADA, is the same as Chevron asking Elon Musk to go to the National Stockholders Meeting and be the guest speaker.
First of all, I'm not saying I never will. There may be a point where NADA pays me to be the keynote speaker in the main room, and I would probably do that because then somebody would call me. I would be treated like a citizen. Yeah, I wouldn't just be a schmuck doing a workshop that they don't care about. Like,
yeah, there's a level. Fair.
There's a level. So I will, at that level, I would do it because I love the industry. I love the people. But NADA is a monopoly that nobody's been able to break. I know they make a ton of money off their convention, but for the most part, they're not doing that much for the industry. In fact, I think they're hurting the industry in a lot of ways. They're way behind on the Tesla thing, sideswiped them. And to the point that they didn't want me to talk about Tesla is hilarious because your job at NADA is to guard the dealer body against that. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the failures that we could talk about, and that's okay. Like, it's a changing industry and there'll be failures and successes, but the humility and the ability to create a culture of collaboration is not there whatsoever.
Agreed.
No, they treat you like, like you're lucky to have them, which I'm not. You're lucky to have me, honestly.
Well, there's a lot of speakers that I think they're lucky to have.
They say to me in the office, they're like, hey, one of our clients wants you to speak at his 20 group. And I'm like, okay, well, could you have him fill out the form? Because I wanted to avoid what happens, right? So we have a speaker form. If somebody wants me to speak at something, they fill out the form. It goes through where is it, the date, what their budget is, all this stuff, right? So I don't get the form. They ask me again. I said, I'm not talking about it until I get the form. Then I get the form and it's not filled out. Then our coach, who really wanted me to do this because it's one of his favorite clients and a great client of ours, says, well, help with the whatever. And then they want to pay way less than what I would want to go all the way across the country to a place that you got to fly
It's a remote location.
Yeah, so it's going to be all day going and all day coming back. So it's a 3-day thing for me. And I always in my head have a number. This is how I think about speaking gigs. Do you know how I think about this? Have I ever told you?
I have an idea, but I'd love to hear what you say.
What do you think the idea is?
I think that what you do is you do a dollar amount versus the pain of doing it thing. And if the dollar amount exceeds your pain, then you go.
I say, because I've been doing this so long, and this actually comes off of something that Dave Anderson told me once, which I thought was really good advice about speaking at 20 groups and all that. Is he said, I don't need practice speaking.
Yeah.
I don't need practice, right? And Dave Anderson runs a great business. Like, he's really smart. He adds a ton of value. But what I think about is, what would I pay not to do it?
Oh, that's great. That's better than what I thought.
So I definitely would have paid twice as much as what they were offering me to do it. To go all the way to the East Coast, then fly to another place, be stuck in this remote place, then have to go all the way to another it's 2 flights, the whole thing, right? And they're not easy flights. Like, those are hard flights. So I would have paid twice as much. And also, I got to tell everybody, I've been working on a book. So I'm writing a book, and I've basically, for the most part, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I've been writing. And it's incredible. Like, I'm so excited about this book, and for so many reasons, and I'm having so much fun doing it. This is totally a flaw in my system, is I do have my phone there, so if somebody texts me, I do look, which I need to just turn my phone off.
Probably shouldn't do that, for sure.
For sure now. I'm turning it off. But in a text I get, somebody from NADA has sent whoever the moderator is of that group that I'm supposed to go speak. And maybe I didn't say this. I agreed to go because it's our client and he's one of our favorite clients. And so I said, I'll do it for that amount, but make him look like a hero and just say it's because of our relationship with him. I'll do it. And then once I said that, I was done. Then I get a text on a Thursday. I'm writing. I'm literally in the middle of a chapter, which it's really hard to write a book. I'm telling everybody, it's hard to write a book.
I can imagine.
And I'm in my head, and I get this text, which is a thing from somebody that they said to them from NADA that myself and Jeff Cowan never get paid to speak at 20 groups, and that Jeff Cowan's polished and I'm rough, or something to that effect, that I'm really rough. And first of all, I don't understand. Like, you don't need to compare me to Jeff Cowan. I don't think we're really competition in a sense. We're doing something completely different. He's doing advisor training. We have advisor training, but our thing really is not that.
It's different.
You could compare us more to like one of the other companies. And honestly, Jeff has always been nice to us. I have nothing to say about Jeff. But this guy, whatever, from NADA, says that I'm rough. So literally in the book that I'm writing, I put, remember the guy from NADA in the rough comment. That you interrupted me with your stupidity, saying that I'd never been paid when I have been paid. Like, I don't think that I've spoken in a 20 group and not got paid for a long time, but maybe they're NCM groups. I don't know. Maybe I don't speak a lot at NADA. And if I'm rough, I don't know what you're talking about. I know it's always a battle to go into a 20 group and everybody's talking about everything that doesn't matter. And when I come in and I talk about profit and actual results, they're a little confused because they sit in those meetings most of the time, and NADA isn't teaching them profitability. And if anything, they're confusing them. How many times we get a service manager out of NADA Academy and they're just confused? You make the financial statement into calculus.
Yep.
You're selling an hour of labor. You pay a technician to perform it. You have gross profit left over, and then expenses, and then you have profit. That's it. You don't need to make it any more complicated than that. Like,
it's a plus minus thing.
yeah. So, no. Like, and in my book, this book's going to be open to the general world, not just automotive. So I will take that out. But every time I edit and go back through it, it's going to see me and it's going to drive me. This is the fire that I need. I don't know for what, but
I feel like you were pretty committed before that, but it's all right if you need a little extra go-go juice.
Adding to it. I didn't turn off my phone, and NADA, forget it.
Was that a hard no?
Well, I mean, they could flirt with me. They won't, though. They don't even listen to the show. They're just going through websites. Probably, I don't know. Why do they send us an invitation and nobody calls? Or
because they Googled advisor training.
Yeah, they Googled advisor. There's probably 20 other people that got the same letter, and it's not special. I think I want them to flirt with me. I don't know. I certainly want to meet that guy that said I'm rough.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
show you rough. I'll show you rough, son.
Oh, that's great.
I actually looked him up on social media, and I sent a picture of him. Yeah, I did. I don't know. I get that sort of stuff. I know it's not right, but I don't know. It's fun to me.
Yeah, you turn it into positive, for sure.
Hey,
great.
It's honestly, the truth is, if somebody thinks I'm rough, it's my fault. Like I'm allowing them to think I'm rough. I don't blame them for thinking that. I am kind of rough, and I could be more charismatic. I could do it in a different way. But for the most part, the clients that we want out of 20 group meetings are the clients that respond to results. And so if I went to 20 group meetings and it was all fluff, I can't hand a client over to a coach that doesn't actually want to get results, right? And another thing that happens is the more popular we are, the more people want us because we're popular, not because they want results. And that's a thing we have to navigate, because we only are going to have longevity as a company if we're getting clients results. So we work really, really hard at focusing on customer retention and profitability. And that isn't always, when especially in dealerships, when the service department's the afterthought, and you have a dealer or general manager that came up through sales and doesn't understand the service department. It's just a natural thing. Yep. They aren't always that committed to fixed absorption and profitability. So part of why I go in that way is because I am trying to qualify. Like, there's a story in the Bible, right, with Gideon or whatever, where God says, go down to the river, and he had 10,000 soldiers, and he said, only pick the ones that cup the water out of the river and drink, and the ones that stick their head in the river don't. And there were only 300 of them, but that's how he qualified. That's how I look, is I don't need all 20 in a 20 group. We're looking for the 2 or 3 that want to be on the left side of the page, yep, that actually want to get results and want to do stuff. So
we say it all the time, we're not for everyone.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be.
So I in no way blame anybody for thinking what they think of me. It's my fault if somebody thinks that I'm mean or rough or whatever. I can certainly have more charisma. I certainly can change up my speaking style. I certainly could go there and just do a motivational thing, but that isn't the business model we're in.
Right. And it's funny because people thought Jeffrey Dahmer was mean.
Is there a punchline?
Yeah. But it just turns out he was actually really nice. He just liked to eat new people.
That's a great segue.
Thank you.
Do you want to get to the question?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, remember, write this down. 8333 Ask SDR. And we'll go to the first question.
Hey, Chris. I am currently a field service technician for a large forklift company. I'm actually looking to possibly switching to being a service advisor at a local GM dealer. I'm currently getting paid about $50,000 a year. It varies just because I'm actually paid non-flat rate hourly, and I am wanting to do this just because currently I'm working usually about 2 to 2.5 hours away from home, whereas the GM dealer is about 20 minutes from home. They said they can start me out at a very low hourly with a 4% gross commission, and that includes internal warranty and customer pay. I'm just wondering if that would be approximately what I'm doing, what I'm getting now. And also, they write between 500 and 700 ROs a month between two advisors. Currently, just one advisor with the service manager, and that's why they're wanting to hire me. I also am looking for anything I need to do to possibly make this transition easier, as I've had 4 years of industry experience between working on semis as a tech and then being a forklift tech. And it's time for a change. So I'm just wondering what kind of tips you have. Thanks.
That's a really good question. But you know what else I thought about?
What's that?
What if NADA asked us to do SDR live from NADA? Would we do it?
Yeah.
We would?
I think it'd be fun.
I don't think we would. You think we would?
Why do you think they would try?
You would do it. You would do it.
You're just going to call me a cheap
Yeah. Okay. First thing with this, so let's talk about a tech going from the shop to being an advisor first. Then we'll talk about the money part. Is that fair?
Yep.
Because it's kind of a two-part question.
Yeah.
So the thing that I have learned over the years with a technician becoming an advisor is the hardest thing for you to do is to stop diagnosing and just put it on the RO. Ask the right questions, verify, and put it on the RO. When you diagnose as an advisor, you do a couple things. One is if you diagnose it wrong, you're not the one to fix it. So you're setting up another technician for failure. You also are losing the value in what we do with the customer by cutting right to the chase. And then I guess it's those two things, but you really hurt the process by assuming in the drive and diagnosing it. So you have to retrain your mind to be a detective, ask a lot of questions, and build rapport with the customer. That's really your job as an advisor, is to build rapport and gain trust and be their liaison and collect customers, right? You want key throwers. You want customers to just come in and like, hey, Christian, whatever it needs, just do it. You only do that by building trust over time and really taking care of them and delivering it. So it is possible. I've seen a lot of technicians become very good advisors and incredible managers and service directors, but that little thing in the beginning is the hardest part. Is you will get yourself in a lot of trouble if you diagnose.
Yep, all technicians turned advisors would agree with that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, everyone that I've said
it can be trained out. You just have to really catch yourself.
Yeah, and then as you're generating the RO, I really think the big thing with that is, and it kind of goes along with diagnosing, but you want to transcribe what the customer is saying, not translate.
Yeah.
Right? Don't turn it into car lingo. Don't turn it into tech lingo. Let it be. Because the other thing that happens after a while is I really think that one of the things I'll see techs turn advisors get into is that the shop starts to really dislike them and have animosity towards them.
Yeah, because it's hard.
It can get ugly.
And the technician turned advisor's heart's in the right place. They just
100%.
They just they're building rapport by jumping to the punchline.
Yeah, but you know what they're always really, really good at is getting answers on upsells.
Well, yeah, because they know.
Because they understand.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like
sure.
that clarity of what it's like to do both jobs. They also appreciate within the first couple of days how hard it is to be an advisor.
Okay, now let's help him with his with the pay part. So
I did the math.
What is $50,000 an hour?
$50,000 an hour? A lot of money.
So it's $24 an hour if he's working a 40-hour work week.
Yeah, roughly. And then he said he's getting a minimal hourly plus the
So would we assume that's like $12 or something?
I figured it as 10, which is roughly about $20,000 a year.
And so then the thing that you want to know is you want to know what the other advisors are writing in gross. So gross is the sale less the cost of the technician. So let's say their effective labor rate, what they actually are collecting from the customer is $100, and the average technician is getting paid $25. You're getting paid commission on the $75 left over after they pay the tech. By the way, worst way to pay the advisors ever, stupid.
Yeah.
Like you have nothing to do with the gross profit, but these guys went to an NADA 20 group meeting and they told them to pay the advisors on gross, and that's what they're doing. But this is an example of how hard it is to explain to an advisor what gross is that you don't see or control. Like,
yeah, I bet the speaker was polished.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
wasn't rough, because I'm rough.
So
I'll show you rough. Just kidding. I'm sure you're a nice guy.
So the math
I'm sure
is
he's a sweetheart.
to make
You don't beat your wife or.
Ready?
Yeah.
The math is that
I'm sure your mom would say good things about you.
No. But the math is that you would have to make $60,000 in gross per month to match what he's making now.
Which is very doable. So, I think in context of this, you wouldn't regret having advisor on your resume. You'd learn a lot. If the money is a wash, it's probably a pretty good move.
Well, I also think if he has aspirations to become a manager, hands down, like
and the save and commute and everything.
Yeah. So if I'm looking for a manager, somebody that's got technician and advisor experience, they're at the top of the list.
I say do it. Try it. That's my non-legal pending advice. So you think that NADA moderator, his mom would say good things about him?
No.
Me neither. Rough. He's rough. Okay, ready for the next one?
Hey, Jesse from Maine here. Got a question that is for both advisor and technician, pertains to both. How do you motivate both of these positions if the person clearly is not motivated to make money? So if you need to get better performance out of them and they don't seem to want to do it for themselves, don't ask me why, but they just don't seem to be interested in making a paycheck or money. I'm looking for some interesting suggestions as to how to get them, to motivate them to do better, to produce more hours, and to sell more.
You want to go first? Okay, let me go. This is what you do. You get a time machine, like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future.
DeLorean.
You go back to when they were kids, you take over the parenting, and you instill in them a work ethic, a moral system, maybe set them up to have some challenges and make them go through those challenges. Don't let them quit.
Reward them and acknowledge the challenges when they complete them.
Basically program them to be, good members of society, because what you're talking about has been done long before you got them, in a sense. So what we do is we focus on creating an environment, a system, and a culture for high performers, and then we attract high performers. But we have never been successful making people something that they're not.
Yeah.
Try to make somebody happy. Good luck. Try to make somebody do anything. You can't. Like, all you can do is create an environment that's really, really attractive to high performers, that the pay plan, the schedule, the culture, everything is about taking care of customers and, celebrating wins and figuring out how we can fix the losses.
Wow. I feel like I'm going totally a different direction on this.
Do it. That's great.
So my belief is if your people aren't motivated, that's on leadership. And
I agree with that.
To me, it's irrelevant that these two were hired before he got there.
But when we go in to fix something, we don't try to do anything. We put a system in place. We teach them how to function inside of that system. And then if they don't, then they go away. But
so yeah, it's kind of the end point of that, right?
you don't make somebody be motivated.
No, but as a leader, I think it's our job to reasonably try to find out if they're the right people in the right seat on the bus, what it is that motivates them. And part of it, I think, is establishing clarity and goals. I think that that's a big chunk of trying to motivate either a technician or an advisor. They got to have somewhere they're driving to.
Yeah.
But I think that
But
that's
I'm getting the sense from the question that he's tried that and they're not motivated by money, because I have been in situations like that. But I do not disagree with what you're saying.
Okay, because I also think that, and especially, and I'm not trying to completely generalize, but what I would say is my observations of being in stores is that the younger generation is motivated by money if we educate them, but they're way more motivated by other things. And the great news about that is a lot of the things that they're motivated by are free to do. I actually prefer to motivate folks that aren't motivated by money. If you unlock the key to it, maybe it's recognition, maybe it's whatever, an extra weekend or something like that. Maybe it's something that doesn't, a parking spot. Like all those things, like you can do and they don't cost you any money. But the main thing I think is you got to have a connection with people and know what motivates them. That's your job as a leader.
Awesome. Question 3.
Hi, my name is Ian. I work at a BMW in Florida. I had a question about, so myself, I'm the second leading advisor there. The leading advisor ahead of me writes more volume, but the problem with the volume that he writes is he doesn't send back his quotes to his customers. He doesn't follow up on the stuff, lets cars sit on the bays. It leads to dead time. So I'm trying to think of a way to bolster my dealership as a whole, less myself as an individual. It's not like I want his sales. It's more of the issue of I want more productivity in my shop, and the way that he handles his business as he does his advising doesn't really work well for others. I've been told by techs and such that, it causes issues that, his cars get pulled outside because they don't get called up, they don't get followed up on. And I'm trying to find a way. I'm not the service manager myself. I'm trying to find a way that I can approach this situation and try and find a remedy to it. I've offered to help him with his tickets and such, to get calls out and such. Doesn't really seem open to it. I'm not sure if he's doctoring the appointment list to get this many customers. And he's also kind of got a little bit of tenure. So it's a touchy subject for me to kind of try and approach. Any topics or any pointers, I'd greatly appreciate. Maybe a way I can approach this. I'd appreciate it very much. Thank you.
You want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first this time.
Okay, so this is...
I do like when you do that. So I think there's a couple of things going on there. One is, honestly, I think the question's really good and valuable, because I think that a lot of us have seen that happen with an advisor, that they have all the customers because they've been there for a really, really long time, and then they're tragically treating them. Like, that's the thing, is you help somebody out over 5 years, it does not give you a license to not call them back or anything like that. But the matter of fact is that it's affecting this fella, right? Because when something's sitting on a lift, it means my car's not getting worked on.
Fella.
Yeah.
This fella.
Yeah, it's a northern term.
The Yankees?
Yeah, I don't know. Fella's a northern term. I say that. I said that in Illinois. However, I think the big point is that, I would probably be letting it be known that our work's getting held up because we're not getting responses back. The other thing is I would say hang tight, because eventually that customer will migrate towards him. So I would just sit there and collect all the scraps. Like, he'd tick somebody off and they can come see him the next time.
So this is what I would do. Strategically, I would create a scenario where I was number one and he wasn't. So I would beat him. I would do that by doing one thing. And I was reading this study the other day, and it said something to the effect of, it's really about 15% of our life or a situation that we can't control. I would focus all of your efforts on the things you can control and completely forget about this guy. Just focus on what you can do and you can control. And let me give you an example. When I was a general manager, I had an advisor. He was our top advisor. His name was Gary Trummel, I think. Loved Gary. Just a great guy, great advisor. One day, I go back, and our service director at the time, and I don't know, we had 18 advisors. We had a lot of advisors. There's 2 advisors in his office that weren't hitting minimum requirements or were in trouble for their performance. And I walk in, and I'm kind of listening, you know, and they're talking about they don't get appointments, they don't do, like, all the things that they, you know, all the excuses in the world. I'm kind of like, okay, whatever. This is, I was back there for something else. I don't know. I come out of the office, and our drive manager, Hector, is there, and Gary comes up to him, and Hector goes, Gary, your tow-in's here. And Gary's like, okay, thank you. And Hector walks away, and Gary goes, I always just tell him I'm waiting for a tow-in. So you control when you go to lunch. You control when you get there to write up the night drops or whatever, however the night drops happen. You control how available you are to answer the phone. You know, I'll tell you, there probably isn't a dealership in this country where if you go to the receptionist and say, listen, if you ever need somebody to take a call, I'll take it. Take every call, write every customer, write customers up for him and hand him the RO. And just connect with those customers. When I was an advisor, I would steal customers from other advisors all the time just by writing them up for them in their number. And the next time the customer came in, they wanted to deal with me. I wasn't doing anything shady. I wasn't changing numbers. It's just they liked how different it felt when I wrote them up and was talking to them and building rapport or whatever. So focus on the 85% of things that you can control when you get there, what your availability is. Like, take every call. And in a very short period of time, you can flip that thing. You can flip it quick. 6 months.
Yep.
It wouldn't take long. So focus on the things you can control would be my advice, and forget about that guy.
I love the become number 1 too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the guy you want to go up against. Just focus on being number 1.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. So what did we learn today? Christian?
We learned that NADA does not listen to
like
SDR.
to eat new people?
Yeah, I loved eating new people.
Oh, yeah, NADA. You got to bring that up again.
Yeah, I like what happens to you. It's really literally like you're a fire and I'm the little poker. And I just keep stoking it.
I need external motivation. That's what this is.
You think so?
It's funny. I'm speaking at an event for, I spoke at the boat event, right?
Yeah.
So they're NADA. I'm doing the independent dealers, but they're used car dealers, like buy here, pay here. They're bigger than NADA. I'm a keynote at their event coming up. But yeah, I guess the thing with NADA is like that's where we came up, right? So like you envision.
Yeah, in our dealer world, we were always really we revered NADA.
It's like when you meet your heroes, in a sense. It's a huge letdown.
Always?
Yeah. Always. Because you know why? They're people. They're human. They're flawed. Like whatever.
Okay.
We'll give you the last word though.
No, I think it's okay if you have it. It's great.
Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we will see you next time on Service Drive
Revolution!
Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.